Right, this is a video recording, not a live stream, just a recording specifically for Yuchi, new YouTube friend, and she was interested in the flying, so this is for you, Yuchi. I'm just going to go to a mission. This is the opening screen of Digital Combat Simulator. Sorry, I'll say that again, Digital Combat Simulator. If you can fly in this, you should be able to fly the real thing because it's that accurate. Okay, so we're in a Spitfire LF Mark 9. Let's jump out for a moment. There she is, beautiful aircraft. Iconic aircraft of World War II from England. Amazing aircraft, I love it. It's my favourite aircraft of all time. So let's jump back inside. And there we are. So there's the inside of a Spitfire, and that is reliable, it's accurate, and it's got all the gauges there, they all work. So as you can see, I'm looking around. So to do that, all I'm doing is moving my head. The red marks are just showing where enemy positions are sighted, so I'll get rid of those. That's it, the big red marks are gone anyway. Right, so to look around, I'll see if I can show you. I've got to swap cameras, so let's see if I can do that smoothly. So that's what people normally see. What you're seeing in that bottom right hand corner is what people normally see when I'm streaming. Oh, that's the refueling tanker jet. If I was to fly a different kind of aircraft, I could join that jet and refuel from it in the air. But I'm not going to do that. This is a Spitfire and it doesn't have that facility. So I'm going to swap the cameras over and you should see my ugly mug. So there you are. You'll see that on my head I got my cap, and on this side you've got three arms, or two arms and a central bit, and the ends of these emit infrared light, and that's picked up by a camera that's actually on top of the monitor, and by doing that it can tell where I want to look. So I move my head, and as you can see, I can look around, I can look up, I can look down at my feet. So on my desk, let's swap it back again. I'll swap it back to the other camera. As you can see, I'm looking to one side because I'm looking at my other monitor. Okay, so let's swap the inset picture back to my controls. Stick, throttle unit, and under the desk you can't see, I've got my rudder pedals, and of course down there on the screen you'll see that I have rudder pedals, and by moving my feet, and you can hear it because I push to talk, so you can hear it, the rudder pedals are moving, and they're moving the rudders in the aircraft. So if I get out for a moment, well, first of all, ailerons. Now I'll jump out. Elevator. And of course, let's move around a bit. Rudder. That's working to my feet, of course. Okay, so let's jump back in again. Well, let's change the view fractionally. Okay, so that explains basically how I operate here sitting at my computer flying this aircraft, and my son would be, he's 70 miles away, he'd be doing the same on his computer, and he might be in the next parking bay along to where I'm at. So I'll hear him start his engine whenever he starts it, and he'll hear mine. So I'll very quickly try to get the engine started without messing it up. As long as I don't forget stuff, I'll get it started. I'll taxi round to the runway, and I'll take off. I won't describe everything because that'll take even longer and probably make me forget things because I'm talking. I've just turned on the fuel pump. You might have heard it, but it's only very quiet. I've now got to open the fuel cock, which is there. Right, fuel pump is on, fuel cock is open, magnetos are on, turn them on, and I'll just push my throttle forward a bit, and now you see it's operated a switch that turns on my landing gear light. So what I have to do is make sure my brake is on. There's my brake lever, and then make sure my prop pitch, the angle at which the pitch approaches the air, is fully fine. So instead of being like that, it's like that. Oh, you might not have seen that. I can't, I've got to hold on to my push to talk, so it's awkward. So I want it like that, not like that. And that's what I've done there. So there's, you can see that I'm operating the lever on the bottom right hand corner. You can see me operating the lever, and there's the lever in the aircraft operating. So now I'm in a position where I can start the engine. So I'll prime it, put some fuel into the engine ready to start, and then I have to push those two buttons at the same time and throw that lever forward, and the engine will have started, if I haven't forgotten anything. Here we go. First of all, I'll just crack the throttle a little bit. The brake is on, so it's safe. Here we go. See, that's the trouble with talking. I didn't prime it, did I? And that's how accurate this is. You've got to do it all right. Okay, we'll try again. When I talk, I forget things. Isn't she beautiful? Look at that. Most beautiful aircraft. Okay, so now I'm going to taxi forward, and in a Spitfire you don't use toe brakes. You can't just tilt your toes forward and operate the brake of the right wheel or the left wheel. In a Spitfire it's different. What you have to do is to turn right, you have to put right rudder, as you can see there, and operate the brake whatever amount you need, and that puts braking on the right wheel. If I do it that way, the brake puts braking on the left wheel, so it turns me. Okay, but before I go any further, I'm going to set my altitude to 0 and adjust my nose down trim ready for takeoff, and likewise my rudder trim. I like to give it about 1/3 of a division of nosed down. And that's about there. Rudder trim. See, it even gives a little backfire now and again, as you just heard. Okay, my trims are set. I'm all ready to go, so I'll take the brake off and start to taxi. Let's just see where I am first on the map. Okay, so that's where I am, so I'll go to the left and taxi that way and take off in that direction. So brake off, and here we go. I'll try to show my feet whilst I'm doing this. As you can see, it's already moving forward, even on tick over. I'll stop briefly on this taxiway actually and put some lights on, shall I? Hold on. Brake on. So on the wingtips you've got navigation lights, red on the port wing and green on the starboard wing when I turn them on. And there we go. Red and green. I'll also put other lights on. I've set those switches so that when I hit that button there, which I can do by using a key on the keyboard, it will, hold on, I'll jump out for a second. Just behind the aerial, behind the cockpit, there's a little bubble of glass which has got a light in it, and I can operate that switch in the aircraft by using another key. As you can see, it's flashing, and the reason for that is if my radio was to stop working, I could still communicate with other aircraft by using Morse code. And as you can see, there's a light at the top of the aircraft, and there's a belly light which you can see reflecting off the ground. Okay, so that just explains that bit. Let's jump back in. I'll carry on taxiing. Brake off. It always feels a bit wrong to see a stick and levers moving by themselves. I'm doing a stop second again, because I prefer to have it that you can see it as if I'm the pilot. So there we are. I haven't got a head, as you can see, if I can get far around enough. I'm struggling to do it, but it doesn't matter. I haven't got a head except one viewed from the outside of the aircraft, so I'll carry on taxiing. So just ahead, out of the right window, you can just about see the light portion of the taxiway that goes up to the runway. In fact, no, that is the runway. Oh, we can't tell because it blends. I'm trying to show my feet, but to do that I have to look down, and it can be very uncomfortable to do it like that. So I'm trying to show my feet. I'll try to do the same when I take off. I'll try to show my feet when I take off. So now, because I'm not looking, I've just bumped onto the grass a little bit there. It's the trouble when I'm talking, I don't concentrate properly. So once again, this is specifically for YouTube because you've shown the interest. I'm sure other people might want to watch it just as a demonstration of what it's about, what the what I use, you know, the equipment that I use, the pedals. The thing on my head is referred to as track IR, which is track infrared, and that's what allows me to look around just by turning my head. And when I take off, there's a specific way to do it, otherwise the aircraft will go all over the place and I'll probably end up crashing, having to get a new aircraft. There's the runway going off to the top right. The sissing that you're hearing is because the brakes are pneumatic, so you're hearing the gases being allowed to escape or to operate the brakes, because that's what you're hearing, is the brakes that you're hearing, the pneumatic brakes. I think that's probably basically lined up. Notice the sound changes as I move around the aircraft. Okay, I'll jump back in and take off. I won't go through the things that I have to do for takeoff, because this is just really just showing you at the moment about how the whole flight sim thing works. Okay, so the basics of it is throttle stick fully back, full right aileron, and as I take off I have to dance on the rudder pedals and gradually let the stick forward. She'll then lift off and I have to then get my gear up. You have to look at that indicator there to see that my gear has gone up. I will also adjust my trim to change from 1/3 of a degree nose down to 1 degree nose up. I'll then adjust my prop pitch, so that's this one, to give me 2,700 revs per minute RPM, and then I can close my canopy. Well, don't close the canopy straight away, because the proper way of flying it is that you leave it open, because if there's an issue, if you crash on takeoff, the guys on the ground don't want to have to smash through plexiglass like canopy to get you out. They want to just reach in and grab you, so you leave your canopy open on takeoff, and as you're coming to land you leave your canopy open just in case. So okay, I'll take off now. Brake off. Gear up. And adjust for 2,700. And close my canopy. Right, there are some ground units, soft targets, that I can go and hit over there. You might see the little red dots. So I turn my sight on and make my guns ready. There's a small pip at the top of the stick there. Okay, my guns are no longer unsafe, they're ready to go. So I'll do a run on those, and then I'll just come around for a landing, just to keep the video as short as possible, because we don't all have that much time, do we, to look at this stuff. So my guns are ready, my sight is on, and those red dots, which I would normally turn off, so there we are, they're turned off. They're enemy units, but they are soft targets, they won't shoot back at me, they're just trucks. didn't feel like a very good run. That now look, I only got 2. Very often I'll get 7 or something like that, but it doesn't matter. That's not what this is for. I'll make a turn, make another little attack on those units. Shadow on the ground there, just in front of me. Shadow of my aircraft. It's all very accurate. Oh, they're burning and exploding. I'll do one more run and then I'll make a landing. As I've said, if you can do this in this, you can do it in a real aircraft. Really, it's all very accurate. As I'm turning, I'm also lifting my head to see where the target is. If I wait for the aircraft to catch up, I'd never be able to get aligned in time. So I need to see where the target is sort of early on. So let's go for these 2. They're in a straight line. Let's go for these. Sure that they will have gone. Yeah, there they are. I'll risk flying near the bridge because at the bridge, the railway bridge, you can see there's green tracer bullets coming up at me. They will shoot at me and they can be dangerous. So I'm going to move away for now and make a landing. I don't want to get damaged and then crash the aircraft because the tanks have hit me. There's the airfield. Just at the sort of top third of the picture. So, as I said, coming into land, I need to open the canopy, so I'll do that, and I'll also put my prop pitch fully fine, so you'll see the rev counter go back up to about 3,000. Canopy is open, prop pitch is fully fine. At about 140 miles an hour I will put my gear down. I'll try to show that. Showing that is always dangerous because I have to change my view. With a Spitfire, you haven't landed when the wheels touch because that's when the Spitfire gets very touchy, so it's dangerous. Once your wheels touch, you then have to kind of fight to control it. So let's get my gear down, so I've left it a bit late. And my flaps. You see, when she lands, she wants to go all over the place. I've ended up in the middle of the runway, which is good, but when a Spitfire lands, she wants to go all over the place. So you have to be, as I said, you haven't landed just because the wheels have contacted. That's not landing. You're not landed until you manage to bring the aircraft to a controlled stop on the runway. Okay, I think that'll do, because I think it well, let's show you the flaps first. In a Spitfire, the flaps are more like air brakes. You see those big things hanging down there? I'll put them up and you'll see them go up. The idea of the flaps is that they allow you to continue flying at slower speeds. So when you're landing, you don't want to be landing as fast as possible. You want to be landing as carefully and gently as possible. So that's why you put your flaps down. But they are like air brakes. So I'll close this recording now, and I'll say, of course, TTFN.